The NBA's free agent period kicked off with quite a few interesting moves and smart teams doing smart moves on the first day of free agency. So let's kick it off with the Houston Rockets as they add Finney Smith. I like this move for them a lot. On both sides of the ball, I think it meshes with KD really well on offense. I don't think it is a straight line can fix the defense that they lose with Dylan Brooks, but it's a 3-and-D guy and one that I think it fits what they're looking to do. I think it fits any kind of need that they have. And I think that you can get some really interesting lineups out of this. Like if you wanted to go like Fred VanVleet, Thompson, Finney Smith, KD, and Şengün, that's great. And then you look at the second unit that you can throw out there with Eason, Jabari, that they have Steven Adams, and I know I'm missing a couple of other pieces. Like there are pieces that you can, Whitmore, sorry, that you can put out there as well. Like you have an entire second unit to feel good with, but you can also, like Şengün and Adams, it was a rebounding just massacre for teams. And so you can put Adams in there and just slide everyone out, kind of Fred VanVleet out, and now you have just this insane length lineup. You worry a little bit about Finney Smith being quick enough to guard guards, but Thompson can take the toughest matchups and all of the matchups. KD isn't defensively what he was, but it feels like there are just so many different options to mix and match with now, and we saw that out with the Thunder. How they kind of built a team that could work in all different situations to the point where they were just like, yeah, we're just going to adjust, even though we're the best team, we're just going to adjust to what you were doing and see what happens. Houston feels like they're putting together a team that can fit all of those different things. So I'm really interested to see what this unit looks like, because I think they've put together a fascinating basketball team with Ime Udoka being an excellent coach, being able to put it all together. It's a tough loss for the Lakers, that they already need a center. Now, like, this is not a minor piece that they are going to have to replace. The one advantage it does give them is that the NBA salary cap has so many different things, but they now have access to a $14 million non-tax mid-level exception and a $5.1 million biannual exception. So they can actually fill in some guys. Like that 14.1, that kind of screams Ayton to me, right? So they can fit Ayton into that and now try to get Timu Finney-Smith out somewhere for the 5.1 biannual exception and hope that you piece something together with that. But it is not an insignificant loss for the Lakers, and it's a really smart pickup for the Houston Rockets. Nickeil Alexander-Walker goes to the Atlanta Hawks, 4 years, $62 million. A strong offseason continues. I think this is maybe it feels like a touch of an overpay. I think if I like actually took a beat to look at some of the other contracts that are out there, it probably is in line with a few guys who are around his talent level anyway. But if you don't look at the contract part of it and just look at the roster, like they are building something here with again, starting unit depending on health and what you want to do with Trey, Dyson Daniels, Jalen Johnson, KP, and Okongwu. You have Risa Shea in there as well. Now Nickeil Alexander-Walker with just over $15 million coming off the bench, being productive in that sort of a way as well. I think that maybe you would want a little bit more productive depth that you can throw out there, but as far as starting sevens go, that is one of the better ones you can put out in the Eastern Conference right now. The Denver Nuggets make a couple of big splashes as they trade Michael Porter Jr. to Brooklyn for Cam Johnson. Then they sign Bruce Brown to a 1-year deal. This is a team that desperately needed NBA level talent to play on their basketball team. And so we know Bruce Brown can fit on this team. Like that is obvious. And to be able to turn MPJ into Cam Johnson, who like, good stats, bad team sort of a thing, but to now see how he will fit in either playing with Jokic or just running the second unit on his own, I think that this is a very fascinating move for Denver and one that I do think checks a few boxes. And it just kind of, you're basically doing a 1-for-2. And we talked about it in hockey earlier. It is tough to make 4 quarters equal $1 with that. But I think in this case, for a team that, I don't think either of the guys here at their peak are as good as MPJ is at his peak, although, again, injuries and all of that aside. But I do think that for what they needed, where they just needed more actual basketball players that you trust in any moments to check that box is a very, very good job, I think, for the Nuggets. On the Brooklyn side, like, MPJ is a tantalizing player. I fear with his health issues, I feel with him being wildly inconsistent, that having him be kind of the guy now in Brooklyn, I'm not overly optimistic. I will put it that way. Jordan Clarkson goes to the Knicks. This is a fantastic depth scoring option for New York. Again, this was another team that just needed NBA talent to be able to come off of the bench, and he helps that immensely right away. This is like just basically the exact type of a player I think that they needed coming off of their bench. And we will see what the coaching situation is, but this is the type of move that the Knicks needed to be doing. And this is a great pivot in not getting Kevin Durant or maybe Giannis not even being available or anything like that. To be able to go out and make this type of a move, I think is very, very smart work by the New York Knicks. Just a reminder, wherever you are consuming this, whether it is podcast form or watching in video, there is a tip jar in the description. It is not required. It is not even expected. But if you do want to help out with the show, we got cats that need treats, bills that need paying. So if you wanted to help out in that way, there is a there is a tip jar that is available on any of the pages. To check out the description. Let's get back to the basketball, as D'Angelo Russell is going to the Dallas Mavericks. It's a 2-year, $13 million deal. It is a very inexpensive move for the Mavericks, and I think, like, if you get his best case scenario, this is an excellent pivot with Kyrie Irving dealing with an injury, and then we talk about what Dallas looks like, where, again, you go kind of 7-8 deep, and you really like what they are starting to put together. If the bad D'Lo shows up, this can be a little bit tricky when you are kind of handing the keys of the car to that guy. And by the way, Cooper Flagg is the most important prospect we've had in a little bit. And the last important prospect that we had took us to the NBA Finals, and we traded him for no good goddamn reason. But this kid's kind of important to making people forget about that other one. So if you could not screw this up entirely, that would be great. And that is a lot to put on D'Angelo Russell, and to just hope that there is some consistency that finds its way through there. A couple other moves that caught my eye. Ty Jerome to Memphis, 3 years, $28 million deal. Maybe a little bit more offensive responsibility with this team than he had in Cleveland, but there were some real sparks in Cleveland that looked very interesting. And so I'm interested to see what he does with more responsibility and a little bit more weight on the shoulders, given Memphis, the moves that they have made here this offseason. Luke Cornett adding some really good forward depth for the Spurs. 4 years might be a little bit long, but 4 years, $41 million, I think it's fine. It is a good depth move for them, behind Victor Wembanyama, who we are all expecting to be back, living like a monk now, apparently. But, I mean, you look at him and you are it would not take a whole lot to say, oh yeah, no, there could be health problems here. So some very, very strong usable depth going behind him. Brook Lopez to the Clippers, a really good depth center signing behind Zub, and something that can kind of help a second unit out there for the Clippers. If nothing else, it is 5 more fouls you can throw at Jokic in a playoff game. And Karis LeVert goes to the Pistons. They're dealing with a unique situation, as Malik Beasley was a pretty strong secondary option for them. Now he's involved in a gambling scandal, and so that's not a contract that's going to be happening for them. I was higher on Beasley than some, but I'm also very high on LeVert, and I think much higher on him than others as well. But I think this is a very good pivot, pretty good counter to what was happening with a couple of their bench players. So that is the story from NBA free agency. Keep it locked here on Couch Potato Diary. Make sure you hit that subscribe button, as we're going to be breaking down a lot more from basketball's offseason as some of the big moves keep happening.